beat y'all. They'll beat y'all.
What's going on, beautiful people? Welcome back to Beats Per Minute, Season 2, where hip hop, health, and matters of the heart are always in sync. I am your host, Miss Thursday, and I want to thank everybody that's going to join in on this great conversation this Thursday evening. Happy February. Happy Black History Month. And also, definitely want to take a moment to just acknowledge that this month we you know love to talk about heart health and bring awareness to all the issues that can arise with heart disease and just staying healthy, keeping your heart healthy. So we're going to get a lot into that throughout the conversation tonight. But I just wanted to say welcome back again. And if this is your first time joining, I hope you will, go ahead, hit that like, subscribe, hit the notification button so you can know whenever we go live. And, definitely, having really dope conversations over here. So without further ado, I want to acknowledge my first guest. Definitely, someone that I wanted to link up with and find out more about and see how that I could be of a assistance, if you will, with what he has going on. So I want to welcome first up to the mic from the Be Aware Foundation, my new friend, Mr. Ryan.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So tell the people who you are and why you created the foundation.
Well, I'm the executive director of the Be Aware Foundation, and we connect the arts and entertainment industry to the healthcare industry and the community. And, I met you the other night at that event, and I kind of told you a little bit about, losing my father to diabetes complications and alcoholism complications, and just trying to find the best way to talk about that in a large scale, in a large venue, on a large scale, talk to a lot of people without it being awkward. Try to make it cool and fun to talk about things that are sometimes hard to talk about, and that's how we came about. Exactly.
Okay, and so I'm really excited because I know that you have an event coming up, and this is something that is not new to you. This is something that through the foundation, you've been doing a lot of different things. Collaborating with other local events and businesses and different things to bring about awareness. So talk to the people about some of the different events and different things that you do so that they know how they can also link up, and then we'll get into the event that's coming up.
Okay. Well, we used to promote an annual healthcare and awareness festival by the name of A-Town Day. Now from 2007 to 2013 at places like Turner Field and Auburn Avenue and Lakewood Amphitheater. And fast forward to current day. And last year we did about 10 community cleanups, partnered with Fulton County Community Supervision, partnered with Commissioner Natalie Hall, and a few other organizations cleaning up historic neighborhoods in the community. And right now, currently, we're promoting our fundraiser for our Affirmations Across Atlanta initiative, and we'll get into that, as you said.
Absolutely. So just so everybody knows, you're in the Atlanta area. Right. And so, you do a lot of work in and around that, Atlanta area. But we don't want anyone to think that just because they're not here that they cannot support. So we wanted to make sure that they, get your information. You can always contact the Be Aware Foundation at www.beawarefoundation.org. Learn more about them, see, all the great things that they do and got coming up, and see how we can really get these affirmations across America, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So let's go ahead and we'll talk more about the upcoming event and why you're doing it, what we're doing, and how it can benefit so many other communities.
Okay, well, Affirmations Across Atlanta is a mental health campaign that uses art to reach the streets and reach the community. We paint positive affirmation murals in places like schools, recreation centers, private businesses to try to turn frowns upside down and make somebody that's having a bad day have a little bit better day. And, we've been honored to work with Fulton County Arts and Culture, Fulton County Schools, the Fulton County Youth Commission, Sam Flack's art stores, as well as the National Alliance on Mental Illness to bring these affirmations to life in the city of Atlanta.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Thank you.
So February 10th, we got the tattoos, booze, arts, and shoes. I ain't know what it was, but I was like, I want to go. so, so talk more about what all is happening, what all can people expect, and why they need to come to this event.
Okay, well, since the Affirmations Initiative, is art-based, we tried to create a fundraiser that was cool, but also that catered to the artsy crowd, the art crowd here in Atlanta and hopefully across the nation. But tattoos, booze, art, and shoes, those four ingredients, we just feel like those four ingredients really they speak to the culture. You know what I mean? Those four ingredients speak to the culture. And not to focus on the alcohol in that aspect. We want people to drink responsible. Right. If you are going to be drinking, drink responsible, ride, share, Uber, Lyft. We don't want people to get the message confused, but we want it to be a fundraiser that people want to go to, not something stiff and boring. We want people to be in a line outside, can't wait to get inside and raise money for this cause that can help people from Atlanta to California to Michigan to the state of Washington.
So can I actually get a tattoo while I'm at this event?
Yes, you can. Yes, you can. We have partnered with Maya Bailey and the Peter Street Station and the City of Ink Social Club. You can have a few drinks downstairs, look at some custom shoes being painted, and go right upstairs and have a tattoo done by world famous tattoo artists.
No, that's going to be really cool. I'm definitely looking forward to coming out and supporting again. February 10th.
Yes, ma'am.
In the beautiful and exciting and always got something going on city of Atlanta.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
you
ma'am.
are in the area or coming to the area, please come out and support this great event. We have the website down at the bottom of the screen, as you can see. And so, go check out the website and see how you can support, get some tickets, come in and be amongst the people, get you a tattoo or, a booze, drink.
Yes, we're going to have some visual stimulation, some art installations that will blow your mind. We're going to be taking it up a few notches, going to give the people what they want. The event is from 7 p.m. to 1 a.m. And like she said, you can RSVP at the website in the link.
And so this event is starting about 6 o'clock, I believe.
7 p.m.
7 p.m. Okay, and going till 1. And so also if you are in the the area, we have Mardi Gras kind of starting in Atlanta on the same day. So it's not going to be too far, so you can get your little party on there in the morning or afternoon and then come on over, get your tattoos, booze, art, and shoes going on. So it's going to be a lot going on next weekend, but definitely looking forward to, being a part of the event, coming and supporting you and learning more about, how Beats Per Minute can be of assistance to, the Be Aware Foundation. I love absolutely the premise and your mission. And and I think that it's so important. And I think that the overall theme for tonight has is going to be, so many people taking, you know, um, either their life experience or, losing a loved one or something to help others. And, and I think that that's what it's all about, right? You
Yes, ma'am.
know, not just, dwelling in, whatever we were feeling about why that person passed, but
Right.
trying to prevent somebody else's, loved one from passing the same way. And so I love that Be Aware is all about bringing more awareness to health issues in the community, to wanting to use art and, music to collaborate with the healthcare field, and I'm excited. I'm excited for to see what all you guys got going on and, and just supporting.
Thank you so much. And before I get out of here, I just want to tell you, you keep up the good work.
Thank you.
I've done a little bit of research on you, your platform, your cause, and the different ways that you move and how you put it together. And without people like you doing what you're doing, this is very important. I just want to applaud you for creating this
Thank you.
platform and in any way that the Be Aware Foundation can assist. We're here for the strategic partnerships. That's what it's all about. So we're here to help you the same way you're helping us right now.
Thank you. I appreciate you so much, and definitely am going to take you up on that. I definitely am going to take you up on that. So again, February 10th, if you are in the Atlanta area, coming to the Atlanta area, this is the event you don't want to miss. It's going to be fun. It's going to be, I think just really exciting. But most importantly, it's going to be for a really, really good cause. The affirmations across America, we see a lot of negativity. We're constantly being bombarded with so many different things, and so whether or not you have what a quote unquote health or mental health issue or diagnosis or whatever, I think that we are in a space where self care and just keeping up on our mental hygiene is the most important thing that we can do for ourselves. There's a saying that I'm just learning, and it's called self care is health care. And
I like
so,
that.
mentally, we need to see those things that will, put that smile on your face or, whatever. And I know that, a lot of times it's always nice and it's always, surprising when you driving somewhere and you see these big beautiful murals that you weren't expecting to see, and I think that that just changes the whole atmosphere of a place. And and we need those positive messages everywhere.
I agree with you 100%.
Yeah, thank you so much for checking in. I'm definitely looking forward to next Saturday. Again, we got a lot coming on today as our season 2, and I'm so glad that we was able to bring you on and talk about the foundation and talk about the events that you have done and events that you got coming up. And we definitely want to support and just stay in contact with us and let us know whatever you got going on so we can share it with our followers. And we appreciate you, and you are welcome to stay around and enjoy the conversation, join in the rest of the conversation. But I know you're busy, but if you can't, it's totally understood. But tonight, if you do not know, we are celebrating the life and legacy of the legend Lovebug Starski. I thought it was important to start this season out, thinking about health awareness and being able to talk to someone else who, really probably feels the way I have felt about certain things, with losing my brother in 2018 to a heart attack. It was really such a surreal experience because when he passed away that Friday, my brother Collins was gone. But by Saturday morning, DJ Ready Red was gone. And it changed the trajectory of how I felt, how I moved, and so many different things. And I'll get into it a little bit later. But I'm super, super excited to have this conversation tonight with everyone. And so, without further ado, I definitely want to just say hello and thank you for joining Beats Per Minute tonight. I have Miss Kim C. Shaw, the sister of the legend Lovebug Starski, and my good friend, Miss LPC Chris, who is going to just help guide us through this thing we call surviving sibling loss. So welcome to the BMM platform, y'all.
Look, it's awesome to be here. Thank you so much for
Yep.
setting this up, sis. I mean, a lot of times it goes unspoken.
Yes.
So
And it's amazing because getting ready for this podcast and I love the way that God just kind of put some things together because I had the opportunity to meet Miss Crystal, LPC Chris, through a podcast group. And we kept saying, like, oh, we're going to get together and we're going to do something. And I kept saying, when I bring her on, I want it to be something really meaningful and really allow us to have that kind of conversation. I don't want it to be just like, oh, yeah, this is what she does, whatever. And we talk about just my brother. I really wanted it to be something that would help others because there's so many people who have lost siblings. There's so many people who don't even realize that there's this whole community out there that are suffering silently, if you will, with the idea of like, how do I deal with this grief? So to really kick it off, I want to kind of throw out the question to Miss Crystal: why is it that sibling loss is considered the forgotten grief? Like, why is it that this has become a thing that, I see more people talking about it, but it's really been like considered the forgotten grief?
Yeah, because you guys, you are all surviving siblings. My brother passed when I was 14 years old, and he was 18 years old. And forgotten mourners comes where siblings don't get the same space to grieve as, say, a parent, a spouse, and even children. So siblings are often forgotten about to check in with when a sibling has passed away. I don't know why that is, and why people do not validate a sibling in their loss, because you guys know that siblings are most time our first best friend, our first companion. It's our historian. We have expectations of our siblings that we have of anybody else. I don't know about you, but my brother was just 3.5 years older than me, and he was like second parent to me. He was very wise. There's things that I could just rely on him about, even at a young age. And when that was gone, that was my best friend. That was my companion. That was my everything. A 14-year-old, and nobody really truly thinks about these things. I didn't have the words to even express it to know what it was back then. But now that I can and I'm able to express it not only in my job as a grief therapist, but also in the podcast world with Surviving Sibling Loss, the Forgotten Mourners podcast, I'm able to express those things to the world and to other siblings so that we can connect in this and know that we are not forgotten.
Yes, yes. I wanted to, say, number one, Miss Kim, I don't remember how I found you. I think it was in, one of the many, comment sections of some of the, first generation hip hop artists that I've been blessed to come to know and that, you are friends with. And when I saw your name and saw who you are, I was like, oh, wow. Like, I remembered my brother constantly, posting about your brother. And, my brother originally, when he first started DJing in our hometown of Trenton, one of his first big jobs was at the roller rink in our city, right? So, of course, you got to believe is the skate park. know,
That's it.
um, I, went back yesterday and I posted. I wanted to make sure you saw it because I have my moments where sometimes I watch a video and it makes me feel like he's still here, and sometimes I watch it and it makes me miss him the more. And so when I was watching some of the videos, the one that I, did kind of take apart and share it last night, I wanted you to one know how much my brother honored your brother and how crazy it was that 6 months after my brother would post about your brother passing, that he would also pass from a
Yeah.
heart attack, and just even the words he was saying. So let me take a step back, and Miss Kim, I want you to introduce yourself and tell the people who you are and what you do and all that, and then we'll get more into who your brother was and what he did and why his name is more than just one little snippet of Biggie's song, which
Exactly.
you know.
That's awesome. Outstanding. Thanks so much again for having me, sis. And I really appreciate you. And it was one of those comments or something that we met at, and then we just clicked and we connected and clicked ever since then. And I really appreciate that. My name is Kim C. Shaw, and I am the youngest sibling of the late great Lovebug Starski. I always have to joke around when I talk to people about family, because you hear people have such these amazing family dynamics. And, my brother was very private when it came to his family, but we are extremely small. When I say small, I mean small. It was the three of us, Kevin, Karen, and Kim. He was the oldest. My sister is Karen. And the interesting thing is that when my brother passed, my sister and I were planning to go to Vegas to surprise him. She was a breast cancer survivor. Now, I don't know if you've seen a post that
I did.
Right. And then that happened. So it's like, wow. The smallness of our family, my mother had no brothers and sisters, so we didn't have any cousins on her side. My dad had one brother, and we have three cousins, of which we were distant. So we didn't know anybody but us. So I've never been to a family reunion in my life, and I'm going to be 60 years old. So when I
Wow.
hear about people that are not speaking to family members, and I don't talk to her, and this mama did this and that and the third, and I'm like, y'all have no idea how blessed you are to have each other, because when one is not there, it is a whole you cannot
Imagine, yeah.
I'm sorry.
No. I want you, because I was hoping that I wouldn't be the first one. But I want everybody to feel totally, okay to express however you need to, because I do believe that this will be one of the most healing conversations that will take place for a lot of people. um, I asked originally Miss Chris about why is it the forgotten. I've been blessed to not feel that way. I feel like because so many people that knew me, that knew my brother, they knew how much I was affected. And we came from a large family. I was the baby too, Miss Kim. My brother was 10 years older than me. So when I lost him, I lost my father and my brother,
Yeah.
because he was so much of that in my life. And we had already lost two siblings before he passed.
Wow.
And it was just me and my older sister. So, I don't know about you, but my heart definitely went out to you, Miss Kim, because I did see where, Kevin, aka Lovebug Starski, had originally posted about, in support of your sister Karen, him shaving his head. And I immediately went into this space where I could only imagine how you and Miss Karen felt when you lost him, because it's like you go through one situation where you're hoping that one sibling is going to be okay and
Mm-hmm.
that they're going to make it through. And then this happens. Y'all were going to visit him. And
it's still surreal to this day. I mean, 2018 feels like yesterday. I know exactly where I was, what I was doing, and and it's interesting when you shared with me that you're doing this, and I'm like, wow, I really appreciate it. You know, we as siblings have unique relationships.
mm-hmm.
I mean, I lost my husband, and my kids were very young, and I raised all three of my boys by myself. And I remember my brother was there for me. And when my husband passed away, he drowned back in '06.
Wow.
And I was actually the closest, and since I'm the youngest, for some odd reason, I was closer to my sister and closer to my brother than they were with each other. So I was always that go-between. So whenever something was going on, Karen would call, Karen would call, and I'm talking Kevin off the ledge. All right, well, you know how that is. You know, you this and this and this. And, we every time football comes on, he was a Jets fan. I'm not going to tell you who I support. Yeah. We would go back and forth, and I mean, we would bet, we would just have fun. And, there's nothing, and there's not a day goes by, and there's certain things that continue to happen in your life that used to happen when your sibling was there.
Yes.
You can't help but to, people feel like you can get over it.
No.
Getting over.
Yeah.
It's no getting over losing my dad. It's no getting over losing my husband. It's no getting over losing my brother. The irony of it all is I learned to deal with my dad. I learned to even deal with my husband passing. And we were together since we were 11.
Wow.
I still haven't learned to deal with losing my
brother. Yeah. It is the oddest feeling and pain. And Miss Chris, you can maybe touch on this a little bit. Where I read a really good quote. When you lose a parent, you lose your path. When you lose children, you lose your future. When you lose a sibling, you lose both. And I think it's because, for me, I feel like sometimes there are memories that I have that nobody else remembers, but except he did. And so, like, now, as with him being gone, there's like certain conversations that I might have that there's no one else to back me up, or that doesn't be like, oh yeah, such and such did this and then. So it's a oddest place to kind of be in when that happens. And also, Miss Chris, maybe you can also talk about the idea of how it shifts you. So as me and Miss Kim was the baby sisters, now Miss Kim is the only other sibling, like I am to my sister Kim. But when you are shifted out of your position, it completely changes who you are too, because you're no longer like, okay, well, Evan was this and he took care of that. Now you have to kind of pick up where he would have left off. And I think that a lot of times we don't have the words to give to those things that we feel. So, I don't want to keep, but I'm gonna give it to you, Miss Chris, if you can kind of talk about.
Yeah. I was also a baby sister, but my brother, we didn't have any other siblings, so it was just me and him. I can definitely say, I've said this many times, when you lose a sibling, it feels like everything in your DNA has changed. It's just like so deep that even your organs have responded, your blood has responded, your DNA has responded, because that's how much we feel when we lose our siblings. And it is something, like you said, is not a getting over type situation. Because I was just thinking about my brother today, and just thinking about how many times he took care of me as a big brother. And I don't have that. So losing someone that you could think about now, I'm 41 years old, and older than my brother ever got to be. And and I also feel like because I am my parents only, I am trying to double myself in everything that I do, trying to make sure that my parents are getting older, trying to make sure that their needs are taken care of if they have needs. Christmas and birthdays and things like that, I kind of go over and above a lot. I celebrate them, and I feel like there's always me, and I'm making up for him not being here. My parents don't know that, but it's just something that drives me because I feel like now there, instead of it's just being me, there's two of me that I'm trying to work for and work for and trying to give for. And in our cards, when we have greeting cards and birthday cards, I always sign my name and my brother's name. My dad, but we always sign his names on the cards, and we'll continue to do that for the rest of my life and rest of my dad's life that he signs cards. But yeah, you do shift in roles. You do feel the deep down change that your life will never be the same as it was, and we can't go back because it is unreal. Um, we are going forward in a different way, in a new. And every time somebody, when you say new, you think improve, new and improve, but we're going forth in a new way, and it will always feel like something is missing. And my major was I felt abandoned for a very long time. Even my brother died from cancer, and abandonment is something that was in every single one of my relationships up until recently when I had to heal that. And not understanding why I'm holding on to relationships longer than I should. I just had a fear of letting go or letting that person walk. I would be the first one to walk though, but I would still have this like this connection because of feeling abandoned and alone. That's one thing that I've heard from siblings that feeling alone, like people don't understand me. I'm not in sync with anybody. My brother knew my nuances. He knew, my groans. He knew, our inside jokes. He knew when I was mad at my parents. He didn't even have to know I was mad. He would just know and check in. So yeah, it does change your entire life and deep down into your DNA.
Right. Brian, I don't want to leave Brian out of the conversation, and so jump in at any time if you want to. But I was just thinking to myself, a lot of times, even in especially in our communities, right? Some of us may have been an only child, or maybe we did have siblings, but we have friends that seem to be closer than a sibling. We call them brother, we call them sister. We grew up with them, we knew their parents and everything. And so even having this conversation, right? I was just thinking, Brian, maybe you could speak from, because we're all little sisters, right? From a male point of view, like even what that does for a male, when they're losing someone that they considered a brother or someone they might have considered a sister or a cousin, because like I said, in our community, we have, these crazy relationships. Like my, oldest daughter calls my niece's boyfriend, he's, like cousin nephew or cousin uncle or something like that. And it's, and it's just, we have these weird connections. So I was, just wanted to ask Brian, like, what are your thoughts on, like, how does that shift then actually also take place with someone who may not have been a blood brother, but it was someone that was so close that, that you still feel that loss just like they was your blood.
Right. Well, I am an only child. And while I was listening to Miss Kim and Miss Chris speak, and I'm already familiar with your story, I can't imagine how it feels because, like I said, I'm an only child. But just listening to everyone speak, I just know it's a major, like half of you is not here anymore. You know what I mean? I can see it, I can hear it, I can feel it. And I've lost a few of my cousins to gun violence, and younger cousins at that. And just how that feels and how that hurts the family. I just can't imagine losing a sibling. I just I pray for everybody that's on this podcast, and then everybody who who has gone through that. It just seems like just being an only child. I don't think you could. It's hard for me to wrap my mind around it. That's how deep it is.
Yeah.
And then hearing Miss Chris talk about, like it's changing your blood and it's changing your entire being. It's hard for me to wrap my mind around it. Like I just lost my grandmother. And we've lost a lot of people in our family, but I don't know if it, like you said, if you lose your parent, you're losing your past. If you lose your child, you're losing your future. I'm still trying to process what you said about when you lose your sibling, you're losing both directions.
Right.
That's hard to even wrap your brain around. So, and that's just how deep it is. I have to say a prayer for everybody who's gone through that.
Yeah.
And the emotion that I deal with the most, I believe, Crystal, and maybe you can help with this, is anger. I'm so angry with Kevin because I've had countless conversations. Now, mind you, I was a personal trainer. I'm a fitness enthusiast. I'm health conscious. My mom raised us that way. We know how to stay healthy. And it was always, you got to stop smoking. You got to stop doing the Red Bull. You got to eat healthy. I know, sis, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. So I'm like, why would you leave me? I'm so angry. And because it's, and I know I've read so many things about grief, and that you get pain, you get anger, you get guilt. There's so many different emotions that you go through. But I'm stuck on angry, and I know I have to deal with that myself because it's selfish. It's because why did you leave me? That. And the other part that I'm angry with, and you know this, Ada, you know this.
Yeah, and that's what I wanted to get with you about.
People just trying to forget and dismiss the fact that my brother was a part of all this that's going on, And it's just like he was here. He has a footprint. He made a difference. And me, I know what hip hop meant to Kevin. I know I've sat with him. I used to go, this is the funny part, y'all gonna trip. I used to, way in the beginning when we was young and he first started out, I used to be at the Fever. I used to be at all of these clubs, and I've played for him while he was out smoking a cigarette. Okay.
So he let you touch his equipment?
He let me touch. Not only did he
let me not let me touch his equipment
on certain times, and it was this is just what he did because we're a musical family. I don't know if you know about my son Flash. Flash is doing a documentary right now. It's in the making. We're going to get to him.
Yeah, we're going to get to him. But
yeah, so
definitely,
so it's just that anger.
Yeah. I understand that anger, and just for anybody watching and that will listen later, just to make it perfectly understood. Okay, we are talking about the life and legacy of Lovebug Starski, right? Beyond just a DJ that played at the Fever. This is someone who is documented over and over, has a part of hip hop history, right? So there has been the conversation of, well, who came up with the name? Some people say, oh, it was Keith Cowboy. Some people say, well, he heard it too, and they were at the same party and they were going back and forth. And so this one coined it and this one made it more popular. The problem with that is it depends on the day what you're going to hear, right? And I know that feeling. I know how hard that is because hip hop has become something, as Biggie said, like whoever thought it would, hip hop would be what it is now, right? I'm paraphrasing. But in the midst of it becoming what it has become, there's been a lot of different conversations about with when it came to the first generation hip hop artists. I think that so many of them did not get the credit they deserved because nothing was documented.
Right.
You know, and so even now, last weekend I was watching, Grandmaster Flash on Drink Champs, and that conversation came up about, Cowboy and everything. And also like about the founding four, if you will, and so many different things. And I think the problem is that, one, when it was happening, there were some people that was documenting, they were taking pictures, they were doing whatever. But there's just this overall argument, and I thought the funny thing was, why did we make it to the 50th year without the founding four, if you will, having that sit down conversation to talk about, this is when I did this is when you did that, and this is how it all came about, together, and it spread. Miss Kim, my heart really goes out to you because I know that feeling. I deal with it myself. I stopped scrolling years ago on social media because I never really knew how I was going to respond to seeing certain things or hearing certain things or whatever. There would be times, like I said, somebody would post a picture of my brother and the Ghetto Boys when he was still a part of them. And it's like, oh, wow, somebody wherever was just, thinking about my brother and decided to post his picture. And then you have the other side where, someone that just wants to throw up something real quick, they want to post something, and they have no real understanding of what my brother did or meant to the group, and partially because of the group itself, to be honest. I think that there's been at times where he's played a very big role, and at times his role has been very diminished. And I think that that brings on a whole different level of grieving, because being that they were doing something in a very public eye, it is you want to grieve your brother while the world feels like they're able to say and do whatever with his personality, whoever he was as an artist. And it makes it really hard to really decipher the two.
The irony of it all for me, Ada, if he were still here, he would still be back. He didn't care about all of he would, he cussed like a sailor. He didn't give about all of the glitz glam. His heart was the music, period. And rocking the party. That was his thing. So he would tell you, I don't give a boop about da 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 da. I just want to do what I do. And that was him. He would probably get a little ticked off at us about being so, I don't want to say angry, or just so concerned about what everybody else in the world is saying. I'm not saying that anybody has to bow down or do anything. I mean, we're very well off. That was his life. We got our own lives and this, that, and the third. But don't just dismiss or act like he never existed. That's the part that hurts me.
Yeah.
And I'm just so, and like I said, the anger is more so with Kevin leaving me. And that's the part that I really want to help. I just want to, and I can talk about it. Like, and I still talk to him. I have his laptop. I literally have his actual laptop, and I still have not even opened it to this day.
Wow.
Because I can't. I have records that he signs. I have clothes. I have, we got bazillions of photos. Because I'm a photophile. I love photos because they're memories. And when I look back on my photos, my oldest son was like, "Mom, you sure you ain't got Alzheimer's or something? What all the pictures?" I said, because when I'm feeling down, I can go back and look at a picture and remember what we were doing then.
Right.
We live in Orlando because we love theme parks. We go to the theme parks all the time. So when we go and I'm wait, stop right there, right there, right there. A year go by, whatever, and I'm feeling a picture will come up and be like, oh yeah, that was so good, and it helps my heart heal.
Mm-hmm.
So I do the same thing with Christmas photos when Kevin used to get up and open all our presents before we got to the tree. You know what you got? You got this, you got that. You know, I got you this. Oh, wait a minute. Santa got you that. We like, is it ever gonna be a Christmas week open up our own stuff? He literally opened all of our presents before we even got to the tree.
That's funny. That is hilarious.
And we used to laugh and talk about that stuff. And when he was here, and him at the time when he passed, like I said, I was closest to all of them, them than they were to each other. So the fact that we were planning to go, I was planning to drag my sister to Vegas to go and hang out with him before this happened. It was just
Yeah. I wanted to address it with you because it's so unexpected. When you have an unexpected death versus anticipating a death, it's like you get absolutely no closure at all. You want to ask all the questions, even when you are expecting somebody is sick and you're expecting it, you still want to answer. You want all the questions answered. You want to have that clarity and that closure, and you never got that closure. And I feel as though, and there's a saying that anger is actually love disappointment. And it is the disappointment that we could have helped, we could have, gotten you together physically, so this would not put you in that situation, which put us in a situation that we're missing you, brother. And unfortunately, our loved ones have their own minds and have their own decisions. And every day we try to figure out how we can let them live their life the way they want to live their life. But the anger comes from not having the closure with your brother, and being very disappointed in the fact that it was preventable for the most part, and that you just didn't have that time. It's like your time got stolen.
Yeah.
So it is something a resolve that it will come.
That makes sense.
Come, but it's just basically that I'm disappointed.
Well, that's good. Thank you so much. That makes a lot of sense, Crystal.
And I think that, being able to have conversations like this, and that's why I really was so excited to, connect with you, Miss Kim, because I was like, I wonder if she has felt the way that I felt. And I needed, some help kind of guiding me through and to navigate through how I felt. But I wasn't sure yet when to approach you about having that conversation. But for some reason, I'm like, oh, let's do it in public.
We're going to talk behind the scenes.
Let's do it for everybody, But I knew that there would possibly be, some similarities in that. I can say that I definitely came back to a space of appreciating hip hop. As much as I had issues with some stuff, it really was an amazing group of people who just really, once they found me and realized like, oh wait, Red got sisters. They just love bombed me, and her through me because she didn't really get on the calls and stuff. So I actually just want to take a moment and actually just shout out a few of them. Van Silk. Van Silk called me like every day, all day for like at least a couple months. And that really kind of pulled me out of depression, to be honest. When I reached out to him from a post he had did the day my brother passed, by the time I couldn't even get on social media that Friday, but by that Saturday, that's when I finally went on. And from the moment I spoke to him, and I always say I'm gonna write a chapter that's called Hello, Ada. This is Van Silk, because that's how much he called me that weekend with somebody else on the phone. So I know that, you um, are, probably have a very much closer relationship with this person, but the other person I just always want to give a shout out to is Curtis Blow. Van
Van did the same thing to me. I got it.
it
Yes.
was, so that love bombing, it was like constant
Yes.
calling,
Oh my
constant
gosh.
calling.
Van called more than Curtis did. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, I was appreciative because I was so broken down. Van
Yeah.
felt so bad for me that he had Curtis call me to pray for me. Sparky D too, because when you talking about I'm picking up the phone crying, you know what I mean? I was just done. But if you could, Miss Kim, I wanted if you could talk about what that time was like when Kevin passed, but then the world found out that Lovebug Starski passed away, and what that really, I mentioned it earlier in my situation, but for you, was there that shift that you kind of saw where it was like no longer are you now, trying to just deal with your brother pass, but now you're having to deal with someone who had, a presence out there that was a lot more public than what maybe, somebody else's sibling, dealt with, and how that changes the way that you even, move forward, because I know that for me, it was like I said, I lost Collins that Friday, but by that Saturday, DJ Ready Red from of the Ghetto Boys had passed away, and it completely changed how we even started moving with getting the funeral arrangements and everything together. It became so different, So if you could talk about that.
Yeah, so it was a major challenge because it really hit my mom hard. My mom is a rock. When I say a rock, my mom, I don't know if y'all do sun signs and stuff, but she's Capricorn, and
Mm,
she hides. I want to say she hides her emotions, but it was devastating because that's her only son, that's her
mhm,
firstborn, and that just doesn't happen. Do you know what I mean? You don't lose children. So at that time, my sister and I think we spent more time trying to keep our mom up.
yeah,
And when you talk about people pulling you from, okay, no, we want to have a funeral here in Vegas. No, we think he should come back to Harlem. Oh, no, we're going to do this and we're going to do that. And people was coming out of the woodwork.
yes,
Tell you,
yes,
out of the woodwork. People kind of still come out of the woodwork about who did this and they want to do this and they have this for us. And, the love was there, which
mhm,
is great. But it's the funny part about it, like I said, Kevin was pretty private, so he didn't talk about us too tough. So a
yeah,
lot
and
of people
all, yeah,
know, that snap, the book had a family, So it was, and then we know, from family and growing up, we know, Doug and I still, Dougie Fresh, we still talk all the time. Curtis and I still talk all the time. They still call and talk to my mom and stuff like that. But a lot of Red Alert and all those guys, we still stay connected.
mhm,
But it was when he was alive, it was a whole lot more distant to where we only saw them like when we were out, if we went to something with him or something like that.
mhm,
But it was just like more so trying to help my mom keep it together because we really thought that it was not good
yeah,
and bad enough that you lose a child,
mhm,
but then with all the other stuff that's going on around that you have to deal with,
right,
it 10 times worse.
yeah, yeah,
And DJ Hollywood, he Dougie spoke at Kevin's funeral. I don't know if
mhm,
he it was awesome. It was a blessing. Everybody had great stuff to say and different things like that. But then when the funeral, the repast, and the burial is over, it got worse.
yeah,
It was so much worse because that whole just it's just like it's there is no other feeling. It's just no other feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And you I don't want to say you feel like you can't go on, but you kind of feel like you can't go on. Like, I'm lost. Like, what do I do now?
Yeah.
You know, I used to literally I used to have to drive 2 hours from work and home and work. And Kevin would call, and if I see him on my phone, I know that he needs to talk. And he
Mm-hmm.
would always know when I was driving. He said, "Cause you can't go nowhere now. You can't get a phone now, so you're gonna listen to me." You know, and I would talk to him the whole drive,
Yeah.
right? And it's like I don't have those calls anymore.
Yeah.
When the Jets was losing, and I was, woo, we would get into it. I don't
Mm-hmm.
have that time anymore. I don't even have the fervor for football that I used to have because my brother, you know,
Mm-hmm.
I remember he called me one time with Cheeks on the phone, and Kevin would always call me with somebody else and just like throw him out there. Hey, I got so and so on the phone. This is my sister Kim. This is my sister Kim. I'm like, Kevin, could you stop doing that? And he would, video chat, and I'm like looking like a hot mess. I'm like, dude. You know what I'm saying? So then I knew if Kevin was calling out, the phone gonna ring for a few minutes. I gotta put some lipstick on. I gotta get ready because you never know who's gonna pop
It's
up.
gonna be on the phone.
Yeah. So, but it's those things and the laugh. We used to laugh so much that you know how you get a cramp in your side because you laugh so hard. Those things, and the irony of it all is that my mom and Kevin's relationship had started changing to where they was growing even closer. And when Kevin was staying in New York, even before he left to go to Vegas, we had went to New York, my mom, my sister, and I, my niece, because my niece went to Alvin Ailey. So we drove up to New York to go see her, and then we went and saw Kevin, and I did my photos. We had an amazing photo shoot, and he had just finished making a couple of new songs, and he had some groups that he was producing, and we were in there listening to the music and everything, and it was just so epic to see, my little teeny tiny family, us again, because we all lived in different spaces. I'm in Florida, they were in Georgia, Kevin's in New York, So when it was time for us to come together, it was just like a super blessing.
Yeah.
And so then that whole piece was just like ripped out. And like Crystal said, it was just like, yes, I'm angry, and you're right. It was a disappointment because the countless conversations of you not invincible, I know you got stuff to do. You want to be here for Brianna. You want to be here, for Mom. You got to do. I know. Nigga, don't be telling me. I know. And I'm like, what you asking me for? You asked me my opinion on something. You asked me, and I'm gonna tell you.
Right.
So that would be the thing. So we'll be like, Karen always got something to say. I'm just trying to talk to her, and she want to give me an opinion. Did you ask for her opinion? See, you don't ask folks things if you don't want to hear what they have to say.
Right.
I would always have to be that, I just happen to be a psych major in school, but it's one of those things, right? When we had to, that whole dynamic of he is Harlem, the whole of Harlem, was there, and everybody was there, and everybody, everybody wanted to. It was just, and my sister and I trying to shield my mom because it was just you can't keep the people who want to pay respects away,
Right.
but at the same time, you just want to be in a box by yourself to mourn and to be quiet,
Right.
and just talk to God and help him heal you and give you peace. And that was my prayer for my mom, is because only God can give us the peace that surpasses all understanding.
Yeah.
And that's the way I dealt with my husband's death. Because he drowned. So that was another shock and just left me with 3 kids. And the peace of God is what helped me make it through.
Yeah.
But it wasn't the same with my brother, because I think it was just so different, because I feel like I was robbed.
Yeah.
Now, my dad passed, he had pancreatic cancer. So, again, he was ill, and we knew, and I was able to be there. I literally stayed in the hospital with him for a couple weeks, and we got it. We talked, we did all that. So when he went home to be with the Lord and he rested, it was a whole different type of grieving.
And I think that makes a really big difference too, especially if like Crystal said, when it's sudden versus you watch someone progress. I think that, especially when it comes to, when you have to watch your loved one possibly suffer, it's almost more of a, a peace because they're not suffering anymore.
Right.
Um, but I think the hardest part is that every family member, is not that you love them different or anything. It's just that they all have play a different part in a role, and we appreciate it. And I just want to acknowledge, Brian had to get off. He hung in there with us, and so I
No, I
truly appreciate
appreciate him.
it. Yeah, and and I just want to, just thank him for taking the time to come and talk about, his foundation. It's called Be Aware Foundation. It definitely is bringing some great events and different community, resources, if you will, to his local community in, the great city of Atlanta, and and just definitely, check out their website. uh, next Saturday, he has a great event going on that's going to benefit, affirmations across America. And, I'm just really appreciative that we have people like all of you. Like before you guys got on, I was telling him every one of us has used like some type of tragedy or, a person in our family passing away to kind of move into the space that we are in. I know, Ms. Kim, you were already kind of doing your health thing, but you even more, can speak on why it's so important, why it has to, be at a space where, you really get serious about your health, and that you really, and you my dear, are always looking fabulous and always awesome. And you're always so busy doing your different charitable and community events as well. And I think that the hardest part is being able to get to that space of peace. You know, um, I think we have our moments,
Mm-hmm.
and then we have other moments. And I think that we have to give ourselves grace to go
Grace.
through whatever that moment is. I do also want to say that I have not been able to see like comments and stuff during the live. So I do truly apologize if people have been chiming in. I definitely, appreciate everybody for tuning in and making this episode, the start of season 2 for Beats Per Minute, as special as it is. Again, my big thing is I did not want, if possibly, someone else to feel how I felt after my brother passed away.
Right.
Death is inevitable. But what I didn't want was for something that could be preventable to happen, you know? And so I just wanted to find some way to be able to help some of the great hip hop artists and stuff that rallied around me and loved on me and nursed me back to health. After my brother passed, and once we got back from Jersey from packing up his, apartment and all his things, I literally sat on the couch for about 2 weeks. I love to smell good. I wasn't taking a shower. I barely was sleeping. I was having what I would actually call nightmares, because when I would go to sleep, my brother was alive in my dream.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't want to go to sleep because I didn't want to have to wake up from that
Not being
and
there.
still deal with it.
Yep.
So, it literally was, some of the people you even named, like Red Alert and all of them, just getting ready for a workshop that they agreed to do in honor of my brother was what kind of helped pull me out of that. And so, in order to honor hip hop and to honor those legends, I kept thinking of, like, how can I do that? What can I do to make it make sense? And that's how Beats Per Minute was born. I felt like, it takes, me as a nurse, the hip hop music, combine it together. And I hope that at some point this will help, maybe, God forbid, another DJ's little sister that loses her brother, that she doesn't think that she's the only one that feels the way that she feels
Right.
from this conversation, so.
So the beauty of it all, and this is awesome that you had this on the first day of Black History.
Right.
Girl. So the beauty of it all is, us having, and when I post, especially when I'm at the gym or when I'm skating or whatever I'm doing, my message is always, if you're not going to do it for yourself, do it for those who you love.
Mm-hmm.
Do it for those who love you. Like I impress upon my kids, I stay healthy for y'all. And I stay healthy for my granddaughter, and I want to see her grow up. And my mom, I stay healthy to make sure that I'm here as long as my mom is here. And again, a lot of times when you put your mortality in perspective, granted, I don't get hit by a bus or something tomorrow, but I have to do whatever it is I need to do to make sure that my temple is in the best condition possible. Go to the doctor, make sure you get checked out, the different things that we need to do that we have control over.
Right.
This is awesome that you're doing in this platform, especially our Black young men and women that are in our hip hop culture. This is a movement. This is who we are as a people. And our voices need to be continue to be heard, which means that self-care piece is the only way we're going to keep longevity.
Right.
So that is just that this is a great thing that you're doing, and I really appreciate you having me on. And I hope we got some good messages out there to people today. And Miss Crystal, I need to connect with you after the fact, because I got some things I need to work through.
Well, definitely. I hope y'all do. I'm thankful. I'm thankful, ladies, for y'all time, for just even trusting me enough to have this conversation. Because I know that it can
hard. I can't talk about my brother without crying.
Yeah. And I think I got, because, like, literally, and I think that was God, because I cried a lot yesterday watching the video of my brother talking about your brother.
Yep.
And the reason
you
why
know it came on, Ada, I gotta tell you this. It came on and I turned it off. I haven't watched it yet because I knew what was gonna happen. So I know I'm gonna go back and watch, because when I saw Ready, I'm like, I know, because I saw it before, and I'm like, it's hard. It's like, when you can't put a timetable into.
What made it hard for me was when I watched it with fresh eyes. I broke down and I cried because I saw how much he was struggling. I saw how drained my brother was. And see, for me, when my brother passed away and they said that it was from alleged heart attack, I'm like, what? I understand why, all the reasons, all of that. But I literally have been in a medical, all I've ever wanted to be was a nurse all my life. And he's been my biggest pusher in that, area of going back to school, going back to
care of other people. Yeah.
So when my brother passes away and we're cleaning up the apartment and I'm seeing the hospital bills and the medical bills, and then I talk to someone like Rick and he's telling me like, oh yeah, I was trying to help your brother get, it was like he never even told me he was having an issue. He never even told me that he had been going to the ER because he was having chest pain. So that anger, yeah,
I know.
I
Oh,
was
girl.
angry.
Yes.
So when I'm watching the video, I'm hearing, because now I'm watching as a
A
nurse,
different lens, like you said.
and I'm like, he was having a hard time breathing. He looks completely wiped out. He's fatigued. Like I'm seeing all the, and it broke me down.
Right.
I just kept watching it because it's like, hindsight is 2020.
Mhm.
I remember after my mother passed, there was some pictures that I got developed because back in
Yeah.
the day, you
Got
had
some
to do
films.
that. You know what I'm saying?
Got some films got the negatives that
You know
you
what I mean? You had to wait a little bit to get the picture back.
Yeah.
But I remember seeing some pictures of her with my girls, and I was like, I didn't see it when she was here, how tired she was.
Right.
And it's not a physical tired, it's like almost like just a soul tired,
Hmm. Hmm.
and I know that with every passing of a loved one, it took a toll on my brother. I went purposely to his page to see what he said about your brother because I knew he had said something, but
Hmm.
I really wanted to get it back fresh in my mind because I always do that with a lot of different things, like when something's going on or something, whatever, and I want to get my brother's thoughts on the matter, I go to his page because I
Right.
know that he has said something. He truly enjoyed and loved hip hop. He truly loved the community. He absolutely loved so many of the first generation artists. He looked up to them. Grandmaster Flash was his absolute idol. He
Yeah.
had the jacket, the whole nine, learned how to, you know, scratch behind his back with the
Uh-huh.
handcuffs and everything because of Flash. And it just gives me a love for it, because I got to get it honest. I guess it's like, he had such a profound respect for it. That's
Hmm.
for me, I feel same in so many aspects. I think that is just more than just music. It's about the culture.
It's
And
about something we can call our own.
yeah, yeah.
This is ours, born and bred from down there, ours. And that's what makes my heart proud to be a part of the community.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. All right, ladies. I again am so appreciative to to both of you, and I'm so grateful that we could have this conversation. I hope that whether you were watching live or you're going to catch the replay, that if nothing else, that you have gotten something that will help guide you through, that grief of losing a sibling. Please reach out to, any of us if you need to. But I definitely want to make sure that you get Miss Kim and Miss Crystal's information, so that you can, join in the podcast or, whatever you need to do. But I do hope that this bless somebody. I do hope that this helps to humanize um, also, these first, second, third, fourth, fifth generation artists. I
Hmm.
hope that you just keep in mind that when y'all are debating many different things, that there's a sister, a brother, a child, a grandson, a niece, a nephew
Hmm.
that is, seeing it and that, they are still struggling with the loss and that it's really sometimes really difficult to see that you just want to completely forget. Before I go, I do want to go back to what you were saying earlier because I know that your son definitely got the chance to honor his uncle in a very, very big way recently for the 50th year of hip hop. And, and I just want you to share that because I mean, they got people swerving in the car and whatnot.
Yeah.
A pretty big stage when they gave your brother a shout out. So talk about that and what it even feels like for you just watching the way that your son, he really was pushing and begging, honestly, to honor his uncle in any way that he could. And he found a way to do that. And just watching him, in that space and him being an artist and everything. So, I want you to talk about that and then tell the people how to find you. And then Miss Crystal, you do the same.
Awesome. Well, thank you. So you're right. He had reached out on several occasions and he was like, Ma, I want to go do something at Yankee Stadium. I put it in his head. I said, it would be cool if he can do a set of your uncles. Because we listen to his music, we sing his music, we dance to his music all the time. So it would be cool if you did a set, you kind of did something a little different, but honoring your uncle. He was like, wow, yeah, that would be dope. I want to do that. So I reached out to Curtis. I remember when Curtis called me back, I was in Indianapolis, Indiana. I'm an AKA, but we were doing a conference because I work with one of my sorors. She has a Greek store. And Curtis calls me back and he's like, well, I'm mentioning it to, who was it? Nas that was doing, who was doing it?
Nas.
And it was just a lot of, it's so much red tape and so many different things going on. And I said, well, it didn't come to fruition. And Derek he was a little annoyed. And I said, well, even if they mention Kevin, that'll be a blessing. Right. And I had talked to Doug. And, it was, he goes, I don't know what they're going to do. I don't know what they're going to do. And I was like, it's all good. It's all good. Well, when Doug said something, I was like, okay, that was a blessing. But Derek was like, well, Mom, I'm going to London. I'm opening up. I got to open up for Swerve for the song that I made for him and what have you. And he goes, you know what? I'm a shout out uncle. I was like, okay, that's going to be interesting. So the crowd was the biggest crowd in Wimbledon history. It was 7 countries and 90,000 people or something like that. And he came out saying, I'm shouting out my uncle Lovebug Starski, hip hop 50th anniversary. So I was like, okay. Yeah. He said, and Derek was 5 years old when he grew up, when he said that this is what he was going to do. He is living his life, but he used to always tell his uncle that, he loves what his uncle is doing. But he said from the day his uncle passed away, they're not going to forget my uncle. They're not going to forget my uncle. And he is constantly doing and trying to make sure that doesn't happen. So I'm so proud of him, and he came up. Nobody really knew that Flash was Kevin's nephew until like the last few years. But he wanted to do his thing, making it his bones in the industry by himself.
And that he has done.
Yeah, because when they find out, like, Diddy, all those, you who? You what? Why you didn't tell us? Because he wanted to be on his own merit as an artist. So, he's doing great. He's working with the Lucas brothers on some stuff right now, as a matter of fact. So, and he just called me while we were on the call, and I'm going, he wanted to show me some clothes he's getting made for some benefit or something that's happening. He goes, I want to put this picture of Uncle on the shirt. And I'm like, well, he goes, what do you think? I said, I don't like that one. He goes, well, I like that one. I'm like, again, why did you ask me? But I appreciate you letting me share that. And
no, absolutely. I think that, it's was really cool when I saw the post and I was like, oh wow, that's her son. And and then I see you and him doing a little swerve dance.
Yeah, I swerve when I drive. He just came off of a cruise. As a matter of fact, he's still here in Florida because he just got off of a cruise ship on Tuesday.
Nice.
Wrestling he was on a cruise and he did an hour set. He had me cracking up. I was like, wow, that's cool. So they're really trying to pull him into a lot of different directions, and he's having fun. And that's all that matters. If he's doing what he wants to do, that's all that matters. And that's great. But I can be found on Facebook, Kim C. Shaw. I can be found on LinkedIn. I can be found on Instagram. I'm out there, and my middle initial is the way people find me, is because when you put Kim Shaw in, there's 1,000 of us. But my middle initial is what it is. And then I appreciate you for sharing my business. I do own my own leadership and professional development firm. And I also do personal development, which has to do with the health and the fitness and the mind and the body and the spirit. So thank you. Thank you.
Absolutely. Miss Crystal, what you got going on and what you got coming up, and how can people find you?
Well, I appreciate you for coming and allowing me to be on the podcast. I know we were playing cat and mouse for last year, the end of last year. This was really busy time. And I said today, everybody wanted February 1st. But I was like, no, my sibling has February 1st. I'm on the podcast no matter what. And I appreciate it. And when you all are talking about your brothers, I'm really thinking about my brother and how hip hop really raised us. He is such a fan of hip hop. And I just remember us recording our voices over the radio, like we were radio DJs. So your memories and things of your brother, and then having legends being on this podcast with Sisters of Legends, it's really exciting me, because my brother would freak out about this if he was here. You're like, do you know? Do you not know?
Yeah.
So I'm just like, I promise you, he is somewhere in heaven, just excited about.
He's so proud of his baby sis.
Yes, he's like, I still do it one day.
Yeah.
I think that we all, possibly might have, some conversations going on elsewhere about us, and it made me smile even, when I was watching the video, and my brother was like, your brother and Cowboy probably somewhere talking about it, and
like, look at these mofos out here. Yeah.
Have those thoughts and stuff. And again, I appreciate you guys. Anybody that wants to really connect with Miss Chris, please check out her podcast. You definitely want to join in, get in on the conversation. We help each other by talking about it. We help each other by allowing each other to have that space. Like I said, I was very blessed. I feel like my kids truly understood how hurt I was. But I also feel bad because I know that as much as I was hurting, they were hurting as well. My brother was just such a large person in all of our lives, I also had to come to the realization that me and my sister had different relationships in different spaces. Mm-hmm. So whereas I was like, oh yes, let's push, DJ Ready Red here and there and do this and do that, my sister was protecting her younger brother, where I'm like, no, I want to do, and she's like, no, I want to protect, and it took me a minute to realize it's because of our position of how we have dealt and looked at stuff. And so I want to give a major shout out and send some love to my sister Kim right now. I so appreciate you, and I'm so grateful for you.
My sissy.
Yeah. So, all right, ladies.
All right.
I appreciate
you so much once again, and we will be in touch.
Yes. And I want to thank all the listeners again. I apologize if I was not seeing your comments, but thank you so much for joining in on season 2 of Beats Per Minute. You can come right back here on YouTube, Facebook, or Instagram this season. How about that? and join into the live conversation. Again, I'm so grateful. Please, everybody, remember this is Heart Awareness Month. Have some heart-to-heart conversations with some of your family members. Okay. All right. All right. Thank you guys for joining in.
For joining. Okay.
Appreciate you. Bye.
Hello, little sister. How are you? Very proud of you and your accomplishments.